Hey everybody, this is Rory McDonald from MacDon and Associates coming to you with the next episode of Tuesdays with Rory. I have in the studio today my principal growing up. Pretty excited about this. My middle school principal, Mr. Walt Kozlowski. He has a educational leadership, coaching, consulting, business. Going to be soon podcast. It sounds like going to have perhaps. a lot of good things coming up. But having you on the podcast, really excited to have you here. And just kind of sharing your background, what it is that you're doing in order to raise up the next generation of leaders here within Macomb County, Oakland County, and Michigan, and hopefully the world, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's awesome. So, no further ado, Mr. Walt Kozlowski.
Well, first of all, Rory, thanks for the opportunity. It was so cool to see you reach out and then to listen to a few episodes of your podcast and hear the servant's heart. It's just, how could I not come on and talk with you, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So my background is I started out as a middle school teacher and coach. I taught sixth grade, coached basketball, football, track. After a few years, got into administration, was an assistant principal for 5 or 6 years, then principal in the same building for 11 years. Eventually I moved into a central office role. Originally it was director of curriculum and assessment. Some reorganization happened and it morphed into executive director of innovation and learning. So basically I was in charge of all of the professional development and all of the curriculum for a large school district.
Yeah.
And then I retired from that August of 2021, the end of August 2021. I'm blessed to have 5 young children at home and blessed to be in a situation where I can now spend more time with them. Get to see them off to school on the first day of school, which I had never done in my entire life as an educator. I was always busy at my own school. Get involved with coaching their soccer teams and basketball teams and Lego robotic teams, and just really be present and try to be the dad that I want to be.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I told you I'm a podcast junkie. I can't read enough, and I continue to make connections from a variety of places and connect it back to leadership, and just doing what I can to help share that with people.
Yeah, no, I love it. One of the things that, first of all, you practically have a soccer team in your house. You've got 5 kiddos running around. Just have practices right in the backyard, right?
We could.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. One of the things that I really wanted to bring up with the blog that you're doing, the WordPress blog, which you guys that are watching on the video right now, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You guys can go check that out. I noticed it on LinkedIn, which is where you're posting it most of the time.
Yep.
But it's the cool thing that I like behind is I feel like everything that you're saying is geared towards not just like from the educational standpoint, but from just, and we kind of talked about this a little bit too, is just raising up a leader, up a person to lead, whether that's a business, a sports team, just raising up to be leaders. Just out of curiosity, what is it that led you, like, what's the heart behind that? Like, what's this, focus? Why is leadership on your heart enough to where you've retired as an educator and you're continuing to pour into and go after these leaders in order to raise them up? Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, I've just always been interested in what makes a good leader, and I think that we all have opportunities to be leaders. I definitely think there are some people who are natural leaders, but I also believe that leadership can be learned. And I think that I think a lot of people find themselves in a position of leadership and they don't know what to do. I think a lot of people find themselves in positions where they'd like to be able to provide some leadership and they can use some help with that. And I see leadership possibilities and opportunities in everyday situations. One of the blog posts I wrote that some people seem to enjoy was 2 of my sons had soccer games and I was coaching one of them. We had a short turnaround between the first son's game and the second son's game. We had to walk quite a ways from the first field, get in our car, drive a couple miles away to the next field, and we had a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And I was walking, trying to trying to get them to keep up with me. I kept trying to encourage them, like, come on, guys, we have to get to the next game. We have to go. And the older son, the one who had the next game, he doesn't move fast. He doesn't like to move fast. So he was getting frustrated with me. The younger son, he's only a first grader, so his legs aren't even that long. He was getting frustrated with me. They were doing everything they could to keep up with me.
Yeah.
And they couldn't. And later on, as I thought about it and I reflected on it, I thought about that from a leadership standpoint of how many times have there been in my life as a leader, principal, district administrator, whatever, where I was trying to move too fast for the people who I was trying to lead. And I think that's something that we need to be aware of, because sometimes no matter how hard people try, they don't have the capability. So we have to meet them where they are, and we have to figure out how to do that. So
sure.
Again, just a little, a frustration in the moment of trying to get from one place to another with two children led me to reflect back on my leadership. And I thought, well, maybe that's something that other people can benefit from too. And I wrote a short blog post, and it resonated with people. So
yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it certainly resonates with me and my kids. They're both, so I've got Lila, who's a 6-year-old. My son is Owen, he's 4, and they both got short legs,
right.
So going from, they play baseball. And so the fields are always super far away, and I'm helping to coach. And so there's an expectation of being there at a certain time. And so I could definitely understand where you're coming from on that standpoint, just from leading children within your own household. Is one thing. And then I've noticed that here within the real estate team too. It's reality is not everybody has been in the business as long as some other people. And so there's that aspect, but then there's also reality is some people in education, in teaching, in real estate, I mean, everything. Some people don't have drive like other people do.
True.
And some people just don't want to walk any faster. They're fully capable of it. They just don't want to.
You're right.
And so there's a frustration that exists there as well from that standpoint. But yeah, we could cut it up, I'm sure, all day long on this.
Yeah, and that's leader's job. Come in and figure out, where they're at, what they need, what barriers need to be removed, how you can help them move forward to be successful in the role they're in as part of your team. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. What led to you starting the consulting?
So that's really in its infancy.
Okay.
I'm not doing a lot of that yet. I'm really focused on home. I have my youngest is a 3-year-old, and he goes to preschool 2 days a week.
Okay.
So in a couple of years, he'll be in school full time. And I was fortunate to retire fairly young. And I still have too much in me to just stay home and fold laundry and pick up sticks out of the yard.
Yeah.
The consulting I see as an opportunity to share and help people with their challenges. Yeah. So I think I bring a unique perspective, having spent, first of all, I think all teachers are leaders. From the day you start, you're responsible for leading people. They might be little people, but you have to be able to get people going in a particular direction. And then having spent so many years as a building administrator and central office administrator, I feel like that experience, coupled with the learning that I continue to do through podcasts and reading, and I read broadly, like from a wide range of sources, because I think there's so much to learn from so many different, from business perspective and everything else. Yeah. And I try to bring it all together. So the question about consulting, I think that I have the ability to listen and to draw out people's thinking and kind of try to help them get to what it is they're struggling with and kind of develop a plan to go forward, which it's not my job to tell you the plan. Yeah. It's my job to bring it out of you, because you have it in you. We just have to think through things. And I'm somebody who can bounce ideas off of. And I think I'm getting the knack of asking the right questions to get those out. Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So reality is it seems like a lot of people that are listening to the podcast right now that are following along are other business owners, people who are leading people, whether they're painters that are employees of a business, or they're, a consulting business when it comes to social media, things like that. And they all have employees. For somebody out there who's listening and they're like, hey, although I might be in a good spot when it comes to my leadership within my team right now at this moment, what would you say to that person who feels like they have a pretty good grasp on things? However, like there's not this umph of everybody going after the same vision within the team, everybody going after the same mission within the team. What would you say to that? What would it look like for that person to reach out to you and have a conversation with you? I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, they could reach out to me through email or through Twitter. My email is wkozlowski, the number 4 at gmail.com, or on Twitter, it's at Walt Kozlowski. LinkedIn would be okay. I don't check it quite as regularly. It took us a while to connect through it. Yeah, I'd be open to that conversation. And, even before the conversation, my question would be, are people in the right place where they can succeed? Mm-hmm. Does their ambition, does their skill match with what it is you're trying to do? Ambition, you might not be able to do much about.
Yeah.
Skill, what is it you can give them to help? And if it's ambition, maybe they're not in the right seat on the bus.
Sure.
Maybe they're not in the right job, and there's all kinds of stuff out there of how you can help people find a better connection. But the reality is sometimes you just have to work with the people you have, mm-hmm. right? And you have to find a way to make them successful. So I think we'd have conversation talking through what strengths does that person have? Where might that fit? Where might that help? Maybe there's something that they could work on that would free you up to do something else, just kind of maybe shifting who's doing what. So those are the types of conversations I think we would have.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. I got to ask, during the time that I was a short little stubby kid in your school at Algonquin Middle School, we had all kinds of crazy fun memories, I'm sure too. One of the things that I'll say, I didn't plan on saying this, but I will now. Obviously, there's this, when I was growing up, and I'm sure it's still the same way now. Growing up, there was this constant, there's this fear of the principal. You know what I mean? Like, it just is naturally, it's what it is. No one goes to the principal's office to have a wonderful conversation. It just is reality. You're going there. When you're going there, you're going to have a negative conversation in some way, shape, or form, right? But one of the things, and this is just kind of a testimony to you in this way, one of the things that I noticed during my time at Algonquin, and I did not notice this at Ottawa when I went to school there. I went to an elementary school over in Utica called, I think it's Shouchard Elementary. I didn't notice this there. I didn't notice this in high school. I noticed this in middle school, though. You had this ability as the principal where people feared you, but at the same time, you had the ability to sit down at a lunch table with a group of kids and have a conversation with them. And so that's the cool thing and why it was so easy for me to have you on the podcast, because it was like, he's my principal. I remember, there were times when he would yell at me. I remember that, but there was also this ability for you to sit down and be face-to-face with kids and have a conversation with them. And although it's kids, we feared you, there was also this it's dad's walking in the room. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's coming. He's cool. We can talk to him. We can share things with him. He's going to share things with us. And so I just wanted to bring that up about you. Like, that I'm speaking from firsthand here. Like, I had an amazing middle school experience, and part of that was you and your ability to be face-to-face with me as a student who didn't want to be at school, as well as your ability to lead the teachers. That was one of the greatest experiences in education that I ever had as a student, is in middle school. And I think it just bleeds down from the speed of the leader within the school. It starts with the principal, and then it goes to the teachers, and it goes to the rest of the staff, and it eventually makes its way to the students. And I had a great experience during my time there. And I want to say thank you for that. Wow. It means a lot. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I just wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you. To say you just made my day is not even, I don't know what to say. I mean, that was always important to me.
Yeah.
I always wanted to remain connected to the kids. And so when I look at my career, and I tell people this all the time, the thing that the time that I enjoyed the most was when I was a teacher. And I only did that for 6 years. I left too early.
Yeah.
Because I loved having my group of kids and seeing where they went from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. One of the hardest, I used to tell people when I was a teacher, the 5 hardest days of the school year for me were the last day of football, the first day of school. First of all, the first day of school, because teachers are nervous too. I didn't sleep the night before ever. I was nervous as the students, and I was a 6th grade teacher, so they were new to my school. The last day of football season was always hard because we worked so hard as a team, and they were moving on. The day I had had to make cuts for basketball. Yeah. Because I knew I was always gonna disappoint somebody, lots of somebodies.
Sure. I was one of them. It's all good.
but then,
I won't hold it against you.
Yeah. But then when those kids a lot of times would come to my classroom even the day after they were cut, and that was always important to me. Like, okay, we're good, right? Yeah. I had to choose 15. You weren't one of them. So then the last day of basketball season was always tough because, again, a group that had worked so hard together was not going to be together anymore. And then the last day of school, because I had worked so hard with a group of kids. So I carried that into my job, my role as a building administrator. And, especially the assistant principal deals with all the discipline, or the majority of the discipline. I didn't ever want to be just the guy that you had to go talk to when you're in trouble. I had to deal with that. That was part of my role, but I wanted to be connected, and I wanted to have a sense of what was going on. And then as principal, in addition to talking to people in the cafeteria and other places, I wanted to, as much as I could, be in the classroom, because I wanted to know what was going on. Not that I never worried that my teachers were doing things they weren't supposed to be doing, because they were great teachers. Yeah. But I always wanted to know what was going on so that I could have conversations with students and with parents and feel confident and comfortable saying, yeah, that's what's happening. And I know it because I'm there. And then that opened up the conversations, and so for you to notice that as a middle school kid and still be able to reflect back on it and share it with me, I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. 100%. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to share it. In addition to that, this is one other thing too, is I believe that leaders create other leaders.
Absolutely.
And that is something, that's a hill I will die on. Leaders create other leaders. It's not, the success of a business is one thing. The success of a teacher is one thing. The success of a school or a district or whatever it is, that's one thing. But reality is leaders create other leaders. And with that being said, just in the time that I was at that middle school, I know for sure 2 teachers have come out to be principals within the district alone. So again, a testimony to what it is that you did there. You raised up leaders. That's a great thing. And then my class alone, I know people who are out doing amazing things, right? Like created more leaders. And that's testament to those teachers out there too, for whoever is out there listening. So I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for you. Thankful for you being on the podcast. Really do appreciate it. You being on. Anybody out there, whether you're a local business owner, you're an educator, you're a parent, you're a babysitter, or go down the list, and you are interested in sitting down and having a conversation with Walt, maybe over a cup of coffee or whatever it might be, I'm sure he would be happy to connect with you. What was your email again?
It's WKOZLOWSKI, the number 4 @gmail.com.
@gmail.com. There you go. So you can reach out to him, have a conversation with him, or if you misspell it and you need to call me, reach out to me. I'd be happy to put you in contact with him as well. But thankful for you all. Thanks for checking out today's episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Besides that, you all have a very blessed day.